What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of For the Fowlers. I'm Brandon. Hope everyone's doing well. Happy New Year. Just wanted to put out another season check-in episode. So, we'll make a couple calls here. We'll check in with some of our friends from For the Fowlers and kind of see how they've been doing the last few weeks, this past month. A lot of crazy weather coming through California. Obviously we had that fog for the first few weeks of December, broke off, and then folks were really starting to get into them. And now we're in the kind of midst of this crazy storm. I was out yesterday on a CWA property, actually out in Sassoon. I was on their newest property, Petrero Ranch, and in the middle of the storm, a lot of rain out there, but kind of a slow day across the property. After checking out with the the property manager there, sounds like it was kind of a slow day, but for our blind, we ended up getting into a few of them early morning, and that just kind of died off. But it was still a great opportunity, good chance to get out to another one of their properties outside of the sink. This one obviously being out in Sassoon. It was cool to kind of see this property. And being that we were at Petrero, we actually ended up going out of Denverton, the way the check-in process works there. So it was kind of cool to connect with some other hunters out there. So a lot of fun. But yeah, as for me, for December, kind of a weird month, for those of you guys that have been listening for quite a bit, or for, since episode 1, this season just a little different for me. My wife and I had our first child back in end of July. And so I really wasn't sure what this season was going to look like. And, here I am starting a podcast with everything going on. But believe it or not, I was actually able to get out quite a bit, just, busy with work in December, but I was able to get out more than I expected and had more than my fair share of successful hunts. I think I recapped, but we went out to Joyce Island early December. We were out there for the opener. Caeton and I, were able to, get into some birds out there. That was a lot of fun. My first opportunity, or my first chance hunting Joyce Island, Caeton's second. And then, spent some time out in the grasslands with my buddy Clay and his dad at their private club out in Newman. So that was a lot of fun. Once again, we've got a full strap of birds out there. A couple opportunities to get out with some buddies out in the rice. Kind of hit or miss both those opportunities, but no, it's been good being able to get out. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to hunt around the holidays. I was down in Southern California, so I missed out on, Christmas and New Year's, but saw a lot of folks, getting into them and, taking advantage of, these weather systems that are coming through. So good for them, and been following along on, with some of the followers on Instagram and seeing all their posts and stories. And so, it looks like everyone, for the most part, is having a pretty good December. So, but without further ado, we'll get a couple folks on the horn here. I think first I'm going to try to get a hold of Caeton. We'll check in with him and see how his December's going. So hang tight. We'll get him on the line. All right, guys, we got Caeton on the line. What's up, Caeton?
How's it going?
Good, man. Well, first off, happy birthday.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Happy belated birthday to you.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool weekend. Here we are Sunday the 4th. It's Caeton's birthday. My birthday was yesterday the 3rd, and we spent our birthday weekend sitting out at Petrero Ranch. So what'd you think of that hunt?
It was pretty cool. I mean, it was nice getting out there. I mean, I was like taking a little boat ride to a blind, hunted out of a floating blind. So that was the first time I've ever done that, and it was great. It wasn't as sketchy as I thought it'd be. The thing was pretty solid. There were some birds in the area, but it kind of sounds like that area's been a little bit slow. I believe the CWA guy out there, he said the day we were out there was one of the slowest days they've had. But we got into a couple birds, a few missed opportunities, but overall great habitat, cool spot. Yeah, I'd do it again.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. It's funny. We obviously saw the picture on CWA's website or Instagram of Chuck and his old man out there at Petrero. And I was talking to him offline earlier today, and he actually was hunting blind 5. And we learned from, I think his name was Tanner yesterday, that 5 and 1 to burn the spot. Those are the best blinds so far this year. So if you guys are putting in for any remaining first come, first serve, sounds like blinds 5 and 1. But we hunted blind 4, and like Caeton said, a floating blind, and first time for me as well. But no, it was interesting. I remember I even made the comment. I was surprised how stable it was when we pulled up to shoot and everything.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, I know they said I don't know what 1 looks like. I took an extra boat ride and saw 5, and that's just a pit blind. And you asked me earlier if I would take 4 again, and I would be super tempted to take 4 again.
Yeah.
Just based on, I mean, you know how I like to hunt, and now knowing what the spot is, I think that would be, I think that would be still my ticket. Obviously, I'd be curious what the other ones looked like. I know we kind of talked. It'd be cool if like CWA could do like a drone flyover of the blinds and the property. That way, when people are spending some money on the blinds, you can kind of get an idea. Because let's say, like for me, I don't like hunting out of a pit. You know that. Most of the listeners now know that. I mean, Chuck for sure knows it because he sees me do it in the rice. And then it's just not my forte necessarily. So like if I was going over it, I mean, I obviously would take a pit if it was a lights out shooter. But if I saw something, maybe I like the floating blind and the toolies that are nearby, or maybe blind 3 is, a stand-up blind tucked into toolies, which is obviously my, something I like a little bit more. I'd probably go that route. So that'd be something cool for them to do.
Yeah, for sure. But no, it was cool. Like I said, I was talking about it, I think, on here, but also just telling Chuck and some other guys, like, it was just cool to see another one of their properties, and it's their newest one, and they don't even own it yet. So if they do end up owning it, we'll see what it turns out to be. But now, shout out to George Corp for the invite for both of us. And
yeah, that was a good time.
Yeah, it was a good time. So, but that was yesterday. How was the rest of December? I know we had a couple hunts. I know we chatted about a couple of them on the podcast here, but I know you went up north. How was it up north?
Up north was good. I've hunted a couple times up there. It's been hit or miss. I mean, if you can time the weather right, we've been lights out. Some of my buddies who have been going up there have had a little bit.
And we're talking about
time.
the Northeast here. Sorry about that. Yeah, Northeast.
Yeah, no worries. It's been tough for them though. I mean, with weather, when you have weather, you can do great, but that's kind of goes the same for the valley. Like obviously we time our storms and I kind of judge how an area is doing based on, the not ideal conditions. And
sure.
Like I haven't gone up there during the non-ideal conditions, mainly because work's just been a little hectic. But some of my buddies who have been going up there, it's been tough trudging. Where they've been at, it's been long hunts, getting there at shoot light, but not leaving, till well after 12, 3, all the way out till about 3 o'clock. And they've been getting birds. Like we'd be happy out there. Any one of us would be happy out there, but it hasn't been quick limits, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
It sounds like there's a lot of birds though up on Thule. I've talked to a couple people who've gone up there, but we're starting to get some freeze up in that area. So that should hopefully start migrating some birds down. But we'll see.
And there's only a week and a half left, 2 weeks for the Northeast?
Yeah. For some reason on my calendar, I have it as the 8th, but I don't think that's accurate.
14th.
That's like a random date. Is it the 14th?
Yeah, 14th. Yeah,
so I think I've made my last trip up there just based on my work schedule right now and some of the hunts I have planned. I think I've had my last hunt up north, which I'm a little disappointed about because I think it'd be cool to get up there for one more hunt because normally at this time of year you're fighting, a foot of snow, and right now we wouldn't have that. But It is what it is.
Cool. And obviously, how's the rice been for you? And it's funny. I was having a conversation with someone else who actually hunted near your northern blind. I won't burn the spot, but said that it's been pretty good. Kind of up until this past week when it just kind of shut off there. So how's it been for you and your experience?
I mean, I started off really good this year, and it's kind of just been tailing off for me and the guys. There are times when you're gonna get a couple birds, but we have not necessarily been stacking them out of the blind. I think we've talked about it earlier. This is our first year on this property, and I'm not sure. We know we're not on the X of the property. There's definitely some better shooters out there. I think there's even some guides that even hunt within that same property. I know they do. So we're just trying to work our way up onto the X because I see plenty of birds. They're high. We're just not on the X yet, but we're putting our best effort out there. We got a good spread. Sometimes you got to hit the call a little harder or a little lighter just to see if you can get them to work. And when they do, we've had some good birds finish, and it's been fun.
Cool. Well, right on, man. Well, I know we have a couple hunts coming up. Looking forward to those. We'll chat about those as they get a little closer. But yeah, man, I appreciate taking time away from the family and the birthday festivities and all that to check in and let us know how things have been going. But anything else going on, or you?
No, that's all. That's all I got. It's been a good season. Got a lot of hunts in, and hoping to finish with a bang. Have a couple more, good hunts, and a few mediocre hunts is, I think, all I can hope for, and we'll call it a good one.
Hey, real quick to kind of put your business out there. The maiden voyage of the new trailer. How was it?
Oh, dude, it was perfect. For those of you that know me, I might be a marketplace whore. Can we say that? I love the old Facebook marketplace. I mean, I buy anything and anything on there. But I had bought a trailer years ago, and that was our little duck stabbing cabin for a little bit, and it was perfect. Like, I mean, I know you stayed in it a couple times, Brandon. I don't know if Chuck did, but it was perfect. And so I did what anyone does and sold it and bought something a little bit bigger, and it was horrible. The roof leaked. I mean, when the first time it rained, it poured directly into the trailer. So it was not a good trailer. So I sold that. My wife almost killed me, and I finally bought a new one, and I had a great time. It's definitely more utility than my first one. Dude, it checked all the boxes.
Yeah, no complaints here, man. It was super comfortable. Appreciate you hauling that all the way down from your house, and definitely it was nicer sleeping in a little bit, because I think you got another hour and a half, 2 hours sleep versus if I would have left my house on Saturday. So appreciate that.
Saved me about 3 hours of sleep.
But yeah, man, it was cool. And I guess maybe a quick shout out, just in case they are new listeners, but to the boys out at Island Slough. Good chatting with you guys the other morning. Hopefully you guys got into them. If you guys know who you are, give us a follow on For the Fowlers. But it was good chatting with you guys.
Absolutely.
So, all right, man. Well, you have a good week. We will chat in the coming days.
Sounds good. Thanks, Brandon.
All right, buddy. See ya. All right, guys, we got our next guest on. We got Landon. You guys probably remember Landon from the last season check-in, but glad to have him back on For the Fowlers. How you doing, Landon?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. Last time we chatted, you were in the middle of a public land hunt. Are you out in the field again today?
I'm not today. Today's the first day that I've taken off the last couple weekends, but had some other stuff to do today. Still shooting, but shooting targets instead of live birds. So
right on. How's it been since we chatted last?
It's been good. You have to be out there every day to see the changes and transitions, though. I'm sure everybody realizes that we've gotten some floodwater and stuff kind of statewide. I know it doesn't affect the guys down south as much, but the Sac Valley and then the San Joaquin Valley, where I do most of my hunting, there's been a lot more options for the birds and for the hunters. So,
yeah, I was down actually in your neck of the woods a couple weeks ago. I went out with the DePaz, and we had a good day out at their club, and it was good to see just a total mixed bag of birds down there. I mean, you had pintail, you had widgeon, spoonies, tons of teal. So I didn't get any mallards that day. I know that's your specialty, but you've been getting into a good variety of birds as well, or you just been sticking it out for those mallards?
Yeah, no, I got invited on a reservation up to Sac Refuge. Let's see. I think it would have been a week ago today. It was last Sunday.
Nice.
And we went out there. We sat shoot time to shoot time. So it was an all day sit. It was a long one, but we killed a mixed bag of ducks. I think we killed 17 or 18 birds. We had 7 or 8 mallards, and then 3 pintail, 1 teal, 1 spoony, a couple widgeon, and then a couple gadwall. And the last pair of ducks we shot into for the day, we had 2 gadwall come in, and my buddy said, "All right, they're coming in over your shoulder. You shoot them." And I raised up and killed a drake. And I was kind of joking with my buddies. I said, if that duck's banded, I don't want it, because I was making jokes about not wanting to ruin my lanyard with a band other than a greenhead. And sure enough, my new dog came back with it. It was only his second trip out, and he comes back with it. And I was like, well, I don't know who gets this thing. I ended up giving it to my buddy that had the reservation, but yeah, it came back banded. We could only read like 2 or 3 of the numbers on it. So I'm waiting for my buddy to do the acid etch and then tell me tell me what we got. But yeah.
Yeah, let me know. I'm curious where that's from and how old and all that stuff. I think
Yeah, I will.
that's awesome, man. Yeah, I've been doing about 15 years and still no bands, and it's
Gotcha.
funny. I've been out with some guys that, they just happen to, it's almost like they can see the jewelry just hanging on the leg there. And I've also been out with some guys that only gone out a handful of times and, they get it their first, second hunt. So, no, that's awesome, man. Congrats to you and your crew getting that band last week.
Appreciate it. Yeah, no, it's cool.
Nice. So, were you able to get out during the holidays or?
Yeah. I went out in some of the floodwater with my same buddy Mark that I mentioned in the earlier episode. Yep. We ran some stuff, killed a few ducks, and then just some of the refuge stuff down here, the same thing I've been doing. Yeah, it's been kind of the same program. It seems like a lot of the ducks are starting to move into food areas instead of just loafing, sitting around during the day areas. Yep. It seems like since I've talked to you, it seems like this whole duck season we've had from that point on has just been one giant storm. And I think these birds are pretty well patterned now that they're going to food more often than they were before. So
yeah. What's not like the overall weather, because I think it's very similar weather to what we've had up here, but what's like the situation been like fog wise in the morning? How's it been down there for you guys?
It's just been a lot of big south wind rainstorms. The fog has kind of left since we've started getting the precipitation. Yeah. And then the cool thing is it kind of seems like most of these rain days we've had, it's been rainy and stuff in the morning, and then you'll get like a 2 or 3 hour window in the afternoon where you either get partial clouds and the sun comes out, or I've had it a couple times where it just clears to full sun too. And I talk to guys who like to hunt in the middle of the rainstorm, but I just as soon wait it out and then just go out for the afternoon. I like it.
Yeah.
Much better not getting soaked.
Yeah, I was talking about the buddy today, actually, and we were saying, like, some people don't mind the rainstorm. For me, I kind of like either that right before the rain's coming or right after, the sun starts to peek through, and I feel like that's when the birds start kind of working, and it's just been good. Yesterday, I was out at one of CWA's property, and it was raining off and on, but at one point the sun came through, and I can kind of feel it. I had my hood down, and I can feel it on the back of my neck. I'm like, that actually felt pretty good. I haven't felt that in a while, but
definitely.
No, it was good seeing birds out there and stuff. So,
yeah.
Right on.
One other thing, I hunted ducks last Sunday, but I've been doing a little bit more goose hunting. One of the guys that owns a piece of property up in the Delta region that was a client in Idaho called me at the beginning of the season, and he said, when the birds get in here, getting older now, and I'd like you to help me out some. So I've been doing that, and man, we've been stomping the Aleutians and then a few specks mixed in, and it seems like on those high wind days, those birds fly just as good during the rain, and I feel like it kind of confuses them or makes them want to get down a little bit more, because like we had a shoot yesterday, we killed 27 Aleutians and 3 specks or something like that for the 3 of us, and it seemed like those birds got in and kind of wanted to do the dance better when they had the rain in their face. So
nice. Well, good for you guys. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, right on. Well, you got anything? What's the rest of the season look like for you? You just going to try to get out as much as possible, or are you going to kind of stay down in San Joaquin, the grassland area? You're going to head up north, east? What do you got going on?
I got drawn for SAC again on Wednesday, so I'll be up messing around up there somewhere.
Nice.
I'll be up messing around at SAC Refuge Wednesday, and then other than that, they draw reservations a couple weeks out, and I've had a couple buddies say, hey, we drew this for this day, like let's plan on doing that. So most of the other stuff hasn't been North Valley stuff. I think I'm still going to stay down here kind of in this central like San Joaquin area. We don't have as big a floodwater down here as they do up north, and I think that plays to our advantage right now because our birds don't have as many options. They're not able to go kind of sit off the beaten path and not get messed with. So
yeah, when you're talking about like the San Joaquin down there, is that the one you're talking about when it floods up?
Yeah, well, so like basically, I mean, it's not a secret to anybody. Anybody who's been watching any of the social media stuff, when Butte Creek runs and all those guys can get their boats in there. I
Yep.
mean, I think the first couple of days it was running, somebody said that there was trucks parked like a mile along the road next to one of the launches. I think they had 40 something boats go out of one launch and stuff.
Yeah,
And
I saw a video too on Instagram of that too.
yeah. It takes a lot bigger water for like the San Joaquin River and all that stuff to flood down here, like in these grasslands refuges, and we haven't had that kind of water yet. So I'm just referring to staying kind of down in this area because again, that water stays within its banks. You really only have the refuge stuff you can hunt. You don't have big water to go run a boat in or as much of that kind of option. So
cool. Well, good luck the rest of the season, man. I look forward to kind of hearing how things go, and maybe we can do this again towards the end of the year to kind of see how January went for you.
Sounds good. Yeah, let's do it. We can talk about that, and we'll look forward to some late goose stuff too. So
sounds good, man. All right. Well, appreciate you coming on, giving us your kind of update, and we will chat soon.
Yes, sir. Not a problem. Thank you.
See you, buddy.
All right.
Bye. All right, guys, we got our next guest on here. We got Colin Osier from Southern California. How you doing, Colin?
I'm good, man. Soggy and wet.
Yeah, it's coming down pretty good up here, and I was looking at the weather radar. I know it's getting you guys pretty good too. But
oh yeah,
I saw you got out yesterday. Was it raining pretty good yesterday's hunt?
Yeah, it was pouring down rain. We got it. It finally cleared up, like late morning, early afternoon, and we had to refill. We didn't get in until I think it was about 1 p.m. by the time we got set up. And of course, wind stopped blowing. Still kind of a little gray and kind of like partly cloudy, but we got a few to work, so it was worth it. And we actually had my buddy's girlfriend on her first duck hunt, so that was kind of like the main priority, which is kind of nice,
Yeah. How was that? Has she been kind of chomping at the bit to get out, or is it more kind of, hey, come check, is your buddy kind of pulling her in? Like what's going on there? That's awesome.
I think so. She's like a professional chef.
Okay.
And he's a pretty good cook too. So we did a pheasant hunt a couple of weeks ago, and they made a smoked pheasant pot pie. That was pretty. I gave them a whole speckle belly one time, and they made a whole, like, smoked it and did goose al pastor with it.
Oh, wow.
And they're legit, dude. So she really enjoys like cooking and eating it and stuff. And I think it was like kind of the next step for her of like, all right, let's go do it.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool.
Yeah. We'll have to, I don't know if they listen to the podcast or not, but maybe we might have to have them on for a little guest episode, talk about all those different ways to prepare the game. Because I know you and I chatted last week on your episode about, the different ways we like to cook it. And sometimes we just end up, searing it skin side down and eating it like a steak, like you said. But I mean, man, if we're making pot roast and pot pies and I forget what else you said, that sounds delicious.
Yeah, it's cool to see some new perspectives. A lot of it, honestly, is like over my head, but it's good to switch it up.
I love cooking, man. So,
and it's good having like a new person because it kind of takes I don't get as competitive, and it's more like, hey, I hope this person has a good time. And she actually got to finish a cripple that was on the water, so we counted it. We're like, all right, dude, you killed a duck,
Yeah.
So that was a good experience. So,
so the main question, when you guys got back to the parking lot or ride home, whatever, does she want to go back out?
Yeah, I think she's fired up.
That's awesome. Okay, you did your job. You guys did your job then.
Yeah, and we were telling her too, like, dude, if you put up with that, like, we walked a mile and then we had to walk through a pond for half a mile, and it
wind, weather, rain.
Yeah. Lack of sleep, like you're good. You're gonna enjoy it,
Yeah, well, that's awesome. But I know we chatted a little bit last week, and I'm trying to remember how much we dove into it. But how's the rest of the month been since we chatted last on this season check-in?
It's been good. So like the end, like from mid to end December, things really got going. Started seeing a lot of new birds at refuges, and like birds that we don't typically see down south. So it seems to be like more mallards, and I've seen a handful of mallards getting shot at like San Jacinto. The teal don't seem to really be here. Like this same time last year, we were shooting piles of green wings, and they just haven't shown up yet. And I know you guys are still getting into them pretty good up there.
Yep.
So things are still kind of different than the last couple of years, but it definitely seems like there's new birds. I think that full moon did some weird things, because with that weather, I really thought that there should be a lot of birds moving. The refuge I hunted yesterday, we hunted there Wednesday and shot a 3-man limit.
Oh wow.
And I think it was like a little over a 3-bird average on Wednesday. And then yesterday, with all that weather, when we left, he was saying it was maybe a 1-bird average. So a little surprising.
Yeah. So like on Wednesday, because I know you've said like you don't get resis there, but are you able to get on at shoot light like Lotto sweating on, or are you refilling later in the day?
Wednesday we got on for shoot time.
Awesome.
And we were like canvasback, pintails, widgeon, like crazy mixed bag.
Yeah.
I missed a mallard, but like it was a great day, and we were out of there by like 11,
Oh, that's awesome.
And yesterday, I think it was like the full moon played a part in it. And then the other thing is, like, with so much water in Southern California that we don't normally have, it just kind of spreads stuff out.
Yeah. Yeah. I think with that moon, we were out at that CWA property yesterday, and it was a slow shitter for, everyone out there. I mean, we got a few, but it was slow. And I think to your point with that moon, it's funny, the night before we were staying in Caeton's trailer and, just walking around that evening, like it wasn't raining too much, but like you didn't need a headlamp or anything. Like you could see perfect. And then we boated out yesterday morning, same thing, like killed the headlamps and just used that moon to guide us to the blind. So cool, man. Well, what else is going on? Any other hunts? Do you have any other special hunts coming up, or are you just gonna be hitting the refuge hard in the next few weeks?
So, dude, that was unless some crazy happens.
Yeah. You got a busy
my
January.
Season, man. Yeah. And I knew that going into it, and that was like a cool way to kind of wrap up my season.
Yeah.
And I got to I shot a nice Drake gadwall that just did it perfect, and then we actually decoyed a flock of like 6 pintail and got 2 out of them. And so that was enough for me. That was like, I still got birds in the freezer. I got a batch of jerky that's about to go on today. And so it's not like I needed the birds.
Yeah.
And it's good to decoy a couple, and like saw a nice rainbow. And I'm like, all right, dude, I'm ready to hang it up.
Yeah, that's not a bad way to wrap up the season, especially like we've chatted. You got a busy January personally, so
yeah. And if I still want to have a fiance, it's time to get some stuff done.
No, I hear you on that. I hear you for sure. Well, I'll tell you what, the Queen of the Refuge, Melody, we started following each other on Instagram, so
nice.
I still get to follow along on all her hunts. So
she's gonna be she's gonna hunt every hunt day, like she's gonna be tearing it up. I shit you not, yesterday we got to the parking lot, somebody was coming out while we were going in, and he didn't know the guy, and he goes, "Are you the Queen of the Refuge?" And yeah, it was just too funny. So
was that from the episode? That's hilarious.
So somebody had and just like happened to see her and was like, "Yeah, I've seen you out here before. Like, you're badass,
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Well, I don't want to put her on I don't want to put her on the spot at all, but maybe I know it just didn't work out this go around. Sorry, that's on me. But maybe we can have her take your spot end of season for a little wrap up recap.
I'll get you guys in touch for sure.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. Well,
I think if I was still in Southern California hunting, I would be like really excited for this last couple of weeks, because it's more water than we typically have, and a lot of the refuges I think are going to have more birds than they normally do. Like I would not be surprised if Worcester and like San Jacinto start getting some big pushes of teal and stuff here in the next week or so.
Yeah.
And
Well, I know you gave me a couple.
Good way to wrap it up.
Yeah, you gave me a couple pages to follow, some guides down there, so we'll kind of keep an eye out and see how things are going down in that kind of San Diego inland area.
Yeah.
So, well, right on, man. Well, I appreciate the update. Good chatting with you. Let's see if we can't get together in a couple weeks when you're up here. I know you'll be busy, but
oh, dude, I'm gonna hit you up for sure.
Yeah, it's funny. I got a hunt opportunity. God, it's like the day before you show up, and maybe we could chat offline about it, see if it works out or not. But I know you just made that comment. You're not driving up here to go hunting. I get that. So
no. Yeah,
and I can imagine having that conversation with my wife, saying, "Hey, we're gonna go a day earlier, and I'm gonna go hunt." So
yeah, that's when you start the conversation when you're like, "Hey, babe, how's it going?"
Yeah, exactly.
So, and they already know you're on some bullshit.
Yep. All right, man. Well, right on. Appreciate the phone call and us being able to connect, and we'll chat soon.
Yes, sir. All right. Sounds good, man. Good to hear from you.
See you, buddy. All right, guys, we got our last guest of this season check-in episode. Special guest, excited to have this guy on. Like him or love him. Hey, some folks might even hate him, but I don't know how you can. I absolutely love this guy. But from Filthy Spoon, we got John. How you doing, John?
Good. How's it going, Brandon?
I'm
Merry
good.
Christmas and Happy New Year.
Yeah, man. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. How's it been out there?
Well, this is the December recap, so we were going to say great. If it was a January recap, has a date, it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, been a little rough this last 4-day stretch, but December was December to remember in a lot of ways, and we had a good December.
Yeah, obviously just crazy weather out there, right? We've been dealing with that gray dome, had a couple days of sun, and then, now as we're talking right now, we're just in the middle of, I feel like 5-6 days of straight rain up here. How's the weather been kind of treating things up where you've been out hunting?
So it's been kind of strange in the sense that we've had a ton of rain. We were out of power Christmas Day, Gridley all day, on my street anyway. Didn't matter because I was in the duck blind half the day and I was at the bar the other half, so it didn't matter. But the way it worked out, I never really got rained on hunting. Okay, so it would be pouring, right? I'd leave my house, it's friggin' blowing, raining, pouring, and I get to wherever I'm going hunting, and all of a sudden the skies open up, it's friggin' stars and no rain. So I kind of lucked out there, and I actually artificially wore my Sitka jacket a couple times without needing to.
It's the best, isn't it? Right? I mean, I know you like your wax cotton, but like you said, you didn't need to wear it, but it still found its way on your back and shoulders.
For all trust me, I'm getting it all back because over the last few days, I've been putting a couple pictures.
Yep, I was just going to mention that.
And I've got 10, 12 messages and then comments on the post, nice coat, and it's like, well, I kind of asked for all this. But yeah, it is more comfortable than I'm willing to admit. And you will see it in a duck blind, but you will not see me wearing that damn thing in Slough House or any other establishment for that matter. It's strictly a hunting tool.
Nice. Well, I want to go back. I didn't want to interrupt you there, but I wanted to reference the white trash tier system, and you mentioned the power being out, on your street Christmas Eve. It's glad to hear that the whole street was out. I wasn't sure if maybe you just weren't paying the bill or something, if you went up a level.
Well, the good thing probably for white trash these days, it takes a long time for PG&E to cut people actually off. They don't want that bad PR of the homeless white trash with 18 kids and no power on. So back in my youth, they would shut it off pretty quick. But nowadays, you can string it out there quite a ways.
Yeah. And speaking of that, I will say we didn't mention this before we started recording, but that white trash holiday special that you and Robert did, hilarious.
Oh, good. I'm glad you liked it.
Loved that
we
one.
We did get some good feedback. That was kind of an impromptu thing Robert come with. Like, we got to do a white trash Christmas. I'm like, yeah, that's perfect.
No, I loved it. But, so you've had a pretty busy December. I think, December 1st or pretty early on, you had Shannon Kelly out here in California. How was that?
That was great. We started out December 1st was kind of a little lackluster. Remember, we had a lot of rain and stuff, and Mojo season, the kickoff to it wasn't as hoped by a lot of people. I know it wasn't for me. The big blade wasn't doing it. The regular traditional Mojos weren't doing it. So it started out a little bleak for beginning of December. And then that fog set in. And remember, it was fog of Giddon, right? It lasted forever.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody complained about it, but we were all getting ducks. And I told Shannon back at Duck Days in August when he said he's coming out, I said, if I was you, I'd pick around December 15th. And that's when he came. And because that's traditionally a very good time, right? Because any earlier, it's kind of spotty. Any later, possibility of flooding, spread birds out, lack access, all those things.
Yep.
And it was right on the money when Shannon came out here. He's from South Florida, loves hunting sprig. I mean, he'll put 4 or 8 dozen decoys out and just try to shoot one. He just loves it. So one of our properties started about beginning of December, just kind of turned on for the pintail especially, but all the ducks. Not geese, though. The specks were not like a normal year out there. But ducks-wise, but mostly sprig. Like getting your 3 was no problem out there. And I'm hearing, and I'm seeing it myself when I hunt other places, they're not acting like that everywhere. They were acting like that there that time of year. And so Shannon, we got him out there in one of them super foggy days. And I mean, it was just sprig after sprig after sprig. And we ended up, I think, with, 15 of them between 5 of us. And that was pretty friggin' special hunt,
Yeah, that's awesome. It like I said, I know he's a fan of the pintail, and that's awesome that, they got the message, got the memo, and, they made his visit worthwhile. So, no, that's awesome. What else?
Well, you know how it brings when you bring a guest, right? Every time I have it planned that I got a guest coming, hey, I'm going to bring you out. I'm talking in July with somebody, we'll get you out there. We have great hunts.
Yeah.
Well, then the day comes and it's like, dude, it's usually way better than this, I promise.
Yeah.
It's almost always like that. And with Shannon Kelly, we had 3 absolute banger hunts. One was at our place. One was with Jason with Foul Pursuer, which was often. We did that north out of Biggs. That was cool. And then Monday, I did not hunt with Shannon. He hunted with Byron from Durham Guns.
Mm-hmm.
He has a blind south of Durham, and they were covered up in sprig, and he was able to take Byron out there, or Byron was able to take Shannon out there. They had a great hunt, and Shannon's Grinch call little hunt that we were doing, he was able, the last person that claimed the call we left at Durham Guns.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it was a gal that got it, and they were able to talk and everything. That was cool.
That was such a fun idea, too. Just out of the box thinking, and especially, like I was following along for those 3 or 4 days. I forget how long it was. And I wasn't up in the valley that weekend, but, I was like, oh, this one's at LDC or this one's at, and it's like, I thought it was really cool. So
yeah, he thought of that all on his own. I had to kind of help him, tell him, where good places we to leave it, but he come up with it. And I don't know, I'm sure you saw it. He made that little reel with the charcoal on his little, crab pot thing, lanyard. And they wouldn't let him bring him on the plane. I was like, because we were going to prank some people. You come out there and that's what you find.
Yeah, I don't want to put them on blast, but that's almost what you should have left for those guys at Gray Lodge who didn't want to play the game.
Exactly. They're about the only ones that didn't report. Yeah, exactly. And we seen them. I wish I had to pay more attention because it was a company truck too.
Yeah.
And I know they were a couple Grinches for sure, man.
Yeah. Well, right on. Well, Christmas came, had a good holiday. You were able to get out during Christmas, New Year's, that time?
Yeah. I, since my kids ain't little and gone, I was able to hunt Christmas morning. Took my future 4th ex-wife out with me, who had never been on a duck hunt, was really excited about going, insistent almost. I said, I don't know if this is the first day for you to go. You remember, there were like 67 mile an hour winds recorded in the city Christmas Eve night. And she was blabbing to everybody, she's going duck hunting. I said, all right, you're going. And we woke up that morning. And right about 10 minutes after he got up, getting ready, power goes out. Wind and rain's hitting the house. She's like, well, maybe. I said, you're going now. You're committed.
Yeah.
I said, you're blabbing everybody down there at Stan's Bar that you're a big duck hunter. You're going. And so she saddled up and we went down there. I mean, it was torrential getting down in the blind.
I believe
Wind everywhere. And I'm towing the side by side and sideways. And we get down there to the blind and all of a sudden quits raining. Still windy, but quits raining. and unload side by side, go in, and I ended up shooting a limit that day. It was actually really cool.
Nice. Good for you.
It took a little bit of time, and that blind's kind of been a slow burn. I know Duck Chugger was in that same blind yesterday. They didn't shoot their first bird till 9 a.m., and they ended up in limits, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Good for them for sticking it out. But on Christmas, kind of the same. I got snaked by some teal on the backside, and Crystal here, my newfound future ex-wife, she was wearing Sharon's gear because she don't have any of her own. Sharon went home yet. And there was 4 estate number 3 shells in the pocket. I might have mentioned this on my deal. And I used to love those estate number 3 shells. They just great to me. 99 cents a case they were for years. I'd buy them. And I'm like, give me that. And I was sitting on 3 birds. And the last 4 birds I shot was with those 4 shells.
That's nice.
2 doubles. 2 doubles. Yep. We had a group of pintail come right up the middle of that big blade the way you want it. Doubled on sprig. And then I thought they were sprig, and I was like, oh, that's widgeon. Widgeon did it the same way. Doubled on widgeon. And we got our limit. And it was just cool. I was like, man, I wish I could find some of them estate number 3s in the basement somewhere.
Yeah, that's so it's funny. I have heard you talk about that on your podcast, and you know what? When we get off here, I'm going to go look in the safe because honestly, I've been meaning to do it from over 10 years ago, like when you can just still go into the shop and buy them right off the shelf and not have to worry about the background and them being locked up and all that stuff. Back when I was hunting geese, and the listeners are going to laugh at me, but I have some like 3-inch or 3.5 BBs in the safe here. I know you just like to collect them too. I'll send a box your way.
Oh, I'd love to have them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those estates, they were always to me just because the box was super simple. They were inexpensive shells, but they were great for what they were. And I guess Federal bought them out, so they don't make them anymore. It's like,
oh, okay. I didn't know that.
I bought some Federal number 3s, and they're just not the same as those estates. And I know it ain't just rose-colored glasses after I was 4 for 4 with the vintage ones I found in Sharon's pocket from who knows when.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll when we get off the line here, I'll go take a picture and send it your way. And if you're interested, if not, you can shoot them or put them on display in the crack house or something.
Oh, I'll shoot them. Put the empty box on display. Yeah, if I get my hands on any of them estates, I'm shooting them up.
Yeah.
My good buddy's dad, who was an excellent ammo hoarder, he would buy them things. I mean, he would go into the sporting goods store in Stockton and buy 10 cases at a time. He's got in his garage case after case of that stuff, but he will not part with it.
Oh, that's interesting.
He won't live long enough to shoot them all, but he will not part with any of it, man. And it's like, if you're old man, God forbid, I hope he has another 20, 30 years left, but I'll tell you, I'm eyeballing them shelved in the garage.
Yeah. Well, right on. Well, obviously we're talking a little bit about this weather. I know you went out today, but what's the past few days been like, or a week like? I know your daughter's home. Thank you so much for her service. She's active duty Navy and can be more proud of her and what she's doing for our country over there. But how's it been having her home?
It's been great having her home. I mean, basically almost got her off the plane. She got 1 day, 16-hour time change. So she got a day to recover. It was about 24 hours of travel for her because she had a big, long layover in L.A.
Okay.
And so it was about 24 hours of travel. And I picked her up in the afternoon on Thursday. So I told her, I get all messed up because of the holiday. I picked her up Tuesday.
Okay.
And I wasn't working, Wednesday. I wasn't working Thursday and Friday. So she had 1 full day to kind of recover and, try to get on the time schedule. And then we've just been hunting ever since.
That's awesome.
And went out to our blind. We did pretty good. We plugged the blind up, but it was with friends, of course. Robert and old Duck Chugger went out with us, and we shot some birds, had a good time, had lots of birds working. She shot some birds, and she's been minimum. She hunted with me, I think, 2 years ago. She came home between boot camp and A school, but it was November. We never fired a shot, And it was nice. She remembered how to use her shotgun and knock some birds down, and it was just good. She's known Robert since she was a little kid, and never met John Duck Chugger, but he is just such a friggin' saint of a human and very, very good to her. And so we had a great time at the blind. Like I say, got some birds. It was not hot and heavy, but we had some action.
Good.
And then we've been bouncing around, and this is the lesson of the story, right? So I've been hitting everybody up, just like I did when Shannon Kelly came. I cast a wide net trying to find the best hunting I can get. And it worked out great for Shannon Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with my daughter, I did the same thing. And here's the moral of the story. Don't leave ducks to chase ducks.
Amen.
Because we're always thinking, they say, you're walking over $1 to pick up a dime.
Yep.
Well, I know, and this is my favorite blind with the roll top. It's producing right now. It was a slow burn. It took a while, but it's turned on. And we could have gotten that blind yesterday, and I didn't. I decided to get greedy, and we thought we were going to go on a mallard hunt. It didn't work out with shit. And I told my buddy Duck Chugger, I said, hey, we're backed out of that blind. If you want it, sign up before anybody else gets it. And he did, and they got limits yesterday.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Good
for them.
Awesome.
Good for them, I know.
I do mean good for them. Yeah, there's no duck hunter envy here, but it's like, well, we could have been sitting in there with him getting limits, So did that, and then the day I didn't want to crowd the blind, Robert and another member was in there. And I was like, we don't want to crowd, 4 deep, and it's like, no, we'll go with our good buddy, Johnny Salami, and which has an amazing blind, but it today just didn't work out very good, and it's like, oh, Robert's hit me. Oh, shutter's on fire again. And it's like, oh. Yeah. And I talked to him on the phone. He's like, you guys should have come with us. It's hammering. He's like, what the hell? He's like, this time of year with the, because our property, it's kind of like right now there's only one blind shooting. So it's going to be 4 deep.
Yeah.
We don't like it, but that's the way it's going to be.
Sure.
And he's like, you should just pile them with us. And I went, you know what? I probably should have, but she don't much care. She's just happy to be off a flight deck and back at home. And, a couple shots, few ducks here and there has been good. And then my good buddy Patty was able to get us out on a hunt with him. And that was always fun. She's got to hunt a lot of different blinds in this valley and travel around. And I've been dragging her around doing my politicking from duck camp to duck camp, refuge, and, even snuck her in the back door of a few bars for a minute. And we been talking and hunting all over all weekend. So it's been a blast.
That's awesome. Well, cool. Well, you got anything coming up, between now and the end of season? Anything locked in, or are you just going to be kind of jumping from blind to blind in your club?
We're going to see how it goes, man. There's words of it getting cold up north and freezing. I've seen this happen before, where the last 2 weeks are absolutely amazing because it freezes up north, and then here they are. You got pintails acting like spoonies, or acting like spoonies used to. Spoonies been pretty snobby for me this year.
Yeah.
I do have one last weekend. My little Sharon will be here next weekend, so it'll be 2 more hunts with her. And we're just going to kind of wait and see. I was over at Casey Stafford's place last night, and he was talking about this cold. And if we get what they're saying, this rain quits, this water goes down, it gets cold up north, we could salvage the last week or 2 of this season. But it's going to be a pretty rough week looking ahead, Everybody I talk to, it's pretty rough. There's little pockets, but it's pretty rough for most folks right now.
Yeah, I feel like Casey's, listening to the Spot Burn, has like the most accurate weather forecast using that ag weather. He's got to, let us know what he's using over there, because, I just use like the phone or Weather Bug or something. I know there's better apps out there, but he seems to be pretty spot on with, the amount of rain that's going to be coming and different things like that.
Yeah, he's pretty dialed into this friggin' valley, man. Has been for a long time. And so if he says it, I just tend to believe him. And he's been the Nostradamus a couple times on here where he's told me something on that Spot Burn, and then the next time it's true. Like he was talking one time about get out of the truck, you don't hear a peep. Usually that's the death sign for a hunt for me. If I don't hear any birds, we're not going to shoot nothing.
Yeah.
Right? And that day we got 5 limits with him. You can add that into the stimmer hump. I had a 5 limit day with Stafford, which is nothing to sneeze at. People just kind of you scroll past these pile picks and everything. 5 limits is something that not everybody gets to do or be a part of very much, because even if you do have a great day, it's usually a 4-man limit, right? Because you're in a 4-man blind.
Right.
So when you're knocking out 5 limits, that's something to be proud of. And I was really happy to be a part of that that was December 15th, right in the middle of the month. So yeah, I listen to him. If he says it, I listen.
Good. Well, right on, John. Well, I appreciate you taking the time on this Sunday afternoon to chat and kind of check in with us and let us know how things are going in your world. And we'll keep following along at the Filthy Spoon podcast. Once again, Love all the episodes you're putting out there, and seeing all the stuff on Instagram, and appreciate everything that you're doing for the waterfowl community up here in Northern California.
Oh, yeah, well, no problem. Well, good luck with what you're doing. You're about a dozen in or so, and just keep it up, bro.
No, I appreciate it. So.
Yeah, and do not forget, everybody, we got the Delta Waterfowl Grasslands dinner. What is it, the 16th, 17th, something like that?
God, yeah, I was going to look. I know it's coming up. I was going to take a peek at that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's down there in Gustine.
Yep, beloved town of Gustine. I love that place.
Yeah, like I said, I know we talked before, maybe we can catch up down there, but if for whatever reason I don't make it down there, let's try to get together maybe at Slough House or something before the end of the season. It'd be good to catch up again in person.
Most definitely. Well, you have a good rest of your podcast, and we'll talk soon, bro.
Sounds good, John. Appreciate it.
Yep, no problem.
All right.
Bye.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap up this month's season check-in. I really want to thank all the guys that took time out of their weekend to call in and, give us a shout and, let us know how things are going for them throughout the state of California when it comes to this waterfowl season. So wish everyone a great rest of season. We got about 4 weeks left, and yeah, we'll do another one of these at the end of the season. We'll kind of check in with the guys and see how things are going. But until then, we'll chat soon. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at For the Fowlers and rate and review on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Thanks, guys.